Jeffrey Epstein has been dead for almost 6 years, but his case is suddenly priority one for a lot of people in Washington. So let's talk about the latest developments with my next guest tonight, investigative journalist Dave Levinthal, up late with me live here at 11:44 here on the Final Five. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Hey, only the best.
So as we look at where things stand right now, it's amazing. I think about where I was when this came down. You knew when Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in that jail cell that it was going to unleash every Pandora's box of conspiracy theory. By the way, I was at a Tim Hortons at the Walden Galleria up in Buffalo when I saw that news. Between then and now, we're back with the Trump administration, and the questions still remain.
Well, first of all, glad you were in Buffalo for that.
Yeah, right.
My beloved hometown.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is not surprising that it remains because there have been so many fires stoked along the way by supporters of Donald Trump and Donald Trump himself, which brings us to this moment. So Donald Trump has, in essence, found himself in the ultimate political catch-22, at least of the first 5-6 months of his presidency, which is, hey, either he's been lying all along and his supporters, such as Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, the deputy director, or Donald Trump had the wool pulled over his eyes, or he's trying to hide something. So this is really sort of the alpha and the omega of the situation, and it's not a very comfortable one. He's been trying to do everything he possibly can to get people's attention going in a different direction over the past week.
And let's be clear here, because there was this vaunted Epstein list that the DOJ and FBI says that there isn't, but there have been documents out there, and they've been in the public sphere for years now, phone lists and contacts that Epstein made, and the names of Trump and Bill Clinton and other. I mean, that is a bipartisan thing if there ever was one.
It sure is. And so often we're talking about, false equivalency, Republicans and Democrats, don't put them in the same sentence. There is political equivalency here in the sense that Jeffrey Epstein was cavorting and carousing with Republicans, with Democrats, the most powerful people of all. And that really speaks to sort of the conspiratorial element of all of this, which is that so many people who have kind of been bathed in this idea of Jeffrey Epstein is connected to the most powerful people in the world with money and power, political and otherwise. Where's the list? And is Donald Trump on that list? Are other people on that list? And that's something that Donald Trump is, again, trying to move so far away from. We've seen him release this crazy video, AI-driven, of Barack Obama being arrested in the White House. He's trying to talk about changing the name of the commanders. He's released some files. They just happen to be Martin Luther King Jr. related files going on 60 years old. It ain't the Epstein files, that's for sure.
Did you see Bernice King's response to that today? It was a picture of her father, and it said, release the Epstein file, which was an extraordinary response because the family did not want to see that come to fruition.
They did not.
You know, look, there's this talk about releasing the grand jury transcripts, and even the likes of Alan Dershowitz said, hey, look, you're not going to get much more information out of it other than what we know about Epstein and what we know about Ghislaine Maxwell. So how, you know, do we actually see those coming to light at some point?
Well, they might, but it also might be weeks and probably months before we even have a decision as to whether that grand jury testimony is going to be released. And if it is released, is it actually going to amount to anything? Many legal experts have already said no, including ones who are not exactly liberals, okay? So you add that up and, well, then, of course, the next question is, what other documents do exist? Well, you've got FBI documents, other government documents, the amount of evidence that was collected during the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein from his various properties. That is such a significant tranche of potential data, information, revelation that it's probably going to be very hollow, potentially, to just have the grand jury testimony released. And again, it's months away.
This also gives the White House cover to saying, hey, we released documents. They can say, hey, we were transparent to a certain end here.
It's also a fig leaf. So yeah, they can say that, but does that actually equal transparency? Saying that you're releasing something and then releasing what truly is out there, two different matters.
But you know full well that a lot of the people who have been carrying the president's water in right-wing spheres, the ones who have been fiercely on his side, the Kash Patels of the world, who who were on video talking about these lists and suddenly saying, oh wait, there was no list, you know, everything was on the level. There's a lot of people who bought into the conspiracies. Now there's a lot of backpedaling through that.
Yeah, and it's difficult to convince somebody who has believed that there is a legit conspiracy here to back away from believing in a conspiracy. they sometimes will wonder, well, wait, are you part of the conspiracy person who's saying to look the other direction? Yeah. And this is really the danger for Donald Trump. Obviously, if you put this in a political context, Jim, we're talking about the 2026 midterms. If you have disaffected supporters and voters, people who are very inclined to vote for Republicans and Donald Trump, and suddenly they're scratching their heads a little bit saying, I don't really feel so great about this. Do they stay home? Do they vote for somebody else, a third-party candidate? The margin is so thin in the U.S. House. We're talking a couple of seats here, so we already have to start thinking about that.
And let's remember, above all this, the most important thing is that there were innocent lives who were caught in the crossfire and continue to be caught in the crossfire, who are truly victims through all of this. But there's just a lot still to come on this. Dave,
Absolutely.
Great to see you tonight.
Hey,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
Jim.
Appreciate you coming in, and the Final Five is back after this.